Hey guys, it's been a while, but welcome back to the Frost Dog Garage. I think it's been about 2 weeks since I've posted a video on here as I've had some work things to take care of. But I'm finally back on the Roadster. I've been able to tackle the pedal box, and I did come across a few things to note, and hopefully it'll save someone else some time by me doing a few things incorrectly and then having to fix them. So that's okay though. That's one of the reasons for the videos, so that I can make mistakes and you won't have to. But it is installed. I'm just going to kind of walk through a few things to note, things that I learned. Starting here at the top with this bracket, this mounting bracket. For the life of me, I could not find these bolts in any of the boxes for the hardware or the pedal box or anything. I found some that were longer than what was called for, and maybe they just put those in and that's their purpose, but I wanted to go with the exact ones that are in the instructions, so I just ran to the hardware store, picked up some stainless steel bolts that would go through here, and I think they're 1/4 inch, and I got those in the correct length. These nuts, these nylock nuts here on the back, they were in the hardware, so I didn't have to worry about picking those up. All of these holes are already in the mount, these holes as well, but you do have to basically clamp this in position once I had it attached to the pedal box, just kind of keep everything where it needed to be. Then I went ahead and I drilled the frame straight through here, and then was able to install these bolts. So no problem there. Other than one was not exactly flush, but it is tight. It'll be just fine. That worked okay. Here on the front of the master cylinders, I've got the one for the clutch and the two for the brakes for both front and rear. These brass fittings back here that I have covered with tape just so I don't get any dust in there. I was able to find two. I'm still looking for the third for the clutch. So hopefully I'll encounter that. If not, I'll just source it. Trying to get to these nuts here to tighten down the master cylinders. The ones on the bottom are pretty easy. The ones on the top, as long as you haven't tightened down these clamps right here and just orient them this direction or facing that way, then you're able to get a wrench on these, no problem. And then after the fact, turn these to the direction they need to go and tighten down these clamps. It's not a big deal there. The 4 mounting points, or the 4 main mounting points for the pedal box, I have all the screws going down except for this one. It's going up just because on the bottom side I encountered some issues with getting a wrench on it. So not a big deal there either. Let's see, this rod on each of the 3, and by the way, I am going with, as you can tell, a hydraulic clutch, which is why I have the 3rd one here. But all of these rods, the instructions tell you to cut 5/8 of an inch off, or what I determined to be about 14 threads off of the ends, and leaving these tensioning nuts on the rod when you cut them, just in case the threads get messed up and it's hard to thread them on. But there was no real issue there. I just put them in a vise and used the cutoff saw for them. So pretty self-explanatory there in the instructions. One issue I did encounter, see if I can show this. So this here is the top of the brake pedal and bar, and it has this balance bar that goes through it. So when you activate the brake, it activates both the front and the rear simultaneously, and there's some adjustments you can make to the balance bar for your preference. That's all in the instructions, and you can follow that. I wish I would have read ahead a little bit in the instructions, because this component did come partially assembled, and so I just took it for granted that the distances here, or the spacing, was what it should be, and really it wasn't. I believe it says it needs to be somewhere between 0.20 and 0.24 or 0.25 or so, up to 1/4 of an inch. between both of these added together. So not to exceed a 1/4 of an inch, and I believe not less than 0.20. And that's just to get these rods perfectly straight as they plunge into the master cylinders, so there's no side load on them that the instructions say will prematurely wear the master cylinders. If you look down in here, you can see one of the micro switches. So here's the plastic threads. It's got a couple of nuts on here that secure it to the little mounting plate. And then you can see the white portion that's a little plunger. So as the brake pedal gets pushed or activated, maybe I can show it here. There we go. That little thing comes out and then plunges back in, and that will be able to activate the brake lights. In order to get this positioned correctly to where it was actually contacting that plunger, I decided up here, and it's not much, but you see these little, see if I can show it a little bit better. Sorry if I'm making everyone dizzy. You see these washers here. Well, the instructions don't tell you whether these are supposed to go in between the master cylinder and the pedal box mount, or if they're to go on before the nut. It's not a big deal. It'll probably work even if you left them off, because some of the pictures look like they have left them off, but they came in the kit and in the box. So I went ahead and put them just under the nut so that the master cylinder is as flush as possible on its mount. And I just did that so that I have a little bit more play or a little more travel with these rods to make adjustments. And I worked with them, fiddled with them, and I tightened down these tensioning nuts. And I've got it set so that it seems to be activating the micro switch pretty good. I'll give you, here's a little shot of those micro switches if I can get it. So there you see them there. I just have them oriented the way the instructions showed them. They didn't say to do it that way, it's just what was in the picture. So another thing to note, right here, you can see the pedals. They are adjustable, these Wilwood pedals. This one I have adjusted pretty much as far left as you can. So these 4 bolts are mounting it, pedals to the left. The brake pedal is just mounted in the center. I don't know, we'll see if I'll need to change it or not. And then I just mounted the accelerator pedal. And I just climbed in there, I put my big wide feet up there and adjusted this to where it looked like it would be right on the ball of my feet and be comfortable. And then when I had that where I wanted it, I went ahead and, if I can show it here. So here's the top mounting bolt right there. The holes do not exist. You have to drill those. Not in the pedal itself, but behind it in the, what would be, I guess, the firewall or a portion of it, the bracket, the mounting bracket. So you drill that out with a 1/4 inch. I just took a punch, and once I got these about where I wanted them without final adjustment, I hit this one with a punch, drilled it out, put the nut in, or the bolt and nut in, and then tightened it just enough that I could still move this around. And then I made some final adjustments before hitting this one as well with the punch. This one seems to work pretty good. Pretty powerful little guy. And then drilled that out and mounted it as well. So I think it's in the right position. Time will tell. There is one other thing I should mention. So when you unbox the accelerator pedal, they basically collapse it so that it's as small as possible in the box. And you end up taking a couple of screws out of either side and then pulling it apart and expanding it to match the picture that they show. The problem is they show different pictures. The first one I saw showed the accelerator pedal basically over on this side, and this mounting bar over on this side. And then they tell you to bend it over and everything. The problem with that is with my wide feet, this would be too close to the brake pedal. So in some of the other pictures, it shows it the way I have it here, where this is over here to the right. It doesn't seem like it's gonna catch on anything, and the extension bar is on the left. And I think I like that the best. I haven't hooked up the cable yet, so we'll see if this works, having it on this side. I just tried to follow the pictures, but if I have to, I can flip it around. And looks like I'll end up needing to drill the hole for that. I just haven't got to that yet. That'll be the next step. So I think those are pretty much my notes on the Wilwood pedal box in a nutshell. I'll add some others as I encounter them, but hopefully this will save some people some time by taking care of things before getting it all mounted, especially like this. This took quite a while for me to fix the spacing here, since I went with it to the way it came in the box, and the spacing was far too great. So I didn't discover that until I'd already mounted everything. And rather than disassemble everything to fix this, what I did is, let's see if I can show this okay. What I did is I ended up loosening this set nut here, this tensioning nut, and then this rod has got a couple flat places on it that you can get a wrench on. And I just used a small wrench, and I backed it off and out until it was no longer attached. Then what I did, let's see if I can show it over here. I removed this nut here, and then I was able to back this balance bar, which is just a big threaded rod. I was able to back it all the way out this way. Not all the way, because there's some components in here that won't let you back it all the way out, but just enough that I could turn this and then twist it so that I could get the spacing right. And then once I had it right, I went ahead and reattached this rod from that master cylinder, and I got everything tightened back up. I think my spacing's right. They seem to be straight. Hopefully I don't need to make any adjustments there, because it certainly takes a while. It's some tedious work. But I hope this helps. Again, if I come up with any other issues, I'll include them either in comments or in the next video. But I hope you enjoyed, and again, if this helps you out, share, like, subscribe. And those who are also doing Mk5s, the complete kit, I'll certainly be looking at your videos, trying to figure some things out as well as we kind of go on this adventure together. Thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate you watching.